Yo, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the video. Today is a Spin Master Monster Jam collection video. We'll go ahead and start with Gears Blue Thunder. Now this thing. Space Gold chassis and wheels with white roll cage and tires with golden BKT printing with Astro Treads. Moving on to Ice Grave Digger. Now this thing. Blue chassis with and wheels with white roll cage and clear blue tires with white BKT printing with white ice treads. Moving on to Zombie Megalodon. Now this thing. Black chassis with red roll cage with clear green wheels with black BKT printing with glitter treads. Moving on to Galaxy's Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Now this thing. Cyan chassis with cyan BKT printing and bead locks. Get black roll cage and tire wheels with dark purple treads. Moving on to Fire Son of a Digger. Now this thing. Red chassis and wheels with yellow roll cage with red BKT printing with yellow fire treads. Moving on to Hunter Max D. Now this thing. Gray chassis with brown roll cage with mahogany wheels and chrome BKT printing with Hunter Gray treads. Moving on to Gears Alien Invasion. Everything looks the same as Blue Thunder. Moving on to Ice Dragon. Everything looks the same as Grave Digger. Moving on to Zombie El Toro Loco. Now this thing. Black chassis with yellow roll cage with red wheels with black BKT printing with glitter treads. Moving on to Galaxy's Bakugan Dragonoid. Everything looks the same as Dalmatian. Moving on to Fire Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Everything looks the same as Son of a Digger. Moving on to Hunter Earthshaker. Everything looks the same as Max D. Moving on to the Neo Galaxy Grave Digger. Now this thing. White chassis with purple roll cage with pink wheels, teal tires, white BKT printing. Moving on to the Nitro Grave Digger. Now this thing. Pink chassis with black roll cage and tires with pink BKT printing and bead locks. Got teal tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Grave Digger. Now this thing. Silver chassis and wheels with green roll cage and bead locks and BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Gravedigger Orange. Now this thing, silver chassis with orange roll cage and wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Gravedigger Red. Now this thing, silver chassis with red roll cage and wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Gravedigger Purple. Now this thing, black chassis with purple roll cage, blue wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Son of a Digger. Now this thing, silver chassis and wheels with blue roll cage, purple bead locks, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Son of a Digger Yellow. Now this thing, silver chassis and wheels with yellow roll cage and purple bead locks, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Velociraptor. Now this thing, silver chassis with black roll cage and wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Jurassic Attack. Now this thing, silver chassis with purple roll cage and wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Bad News Travels Fast. Now this thing, orange chassis and bead locks with black roll cage and silver wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Aftershock. Now this thing, yellow chassis and wheels with blue roll cage, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Northern Nightmare. Now this thing, silver chassis with red roll cage and orange wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Blue Thunder. Now this thing, silver chassis with green roll cage and wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Dragon. Now this thing, silver chassis with maroon roll cage with green wheels, BKT printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Megalodon. Now this thing, Silver chassis and roll cage with aqua wheels, speaking to printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Rainbow Blast. Now this thing. Red chassis with white roll cage and wheels, speaking to printed tires. Moving on to BKT Customs Kraken. Now this thing. Copper chassis with dirt brown roll cage, pink wheels, speaking to printed tires. And now moving on to the original Gravedigger. Now this thing. Silver chassis with black roll cage and wheels with black roll cage and tires with yellow wheels. Moving on to BKT Custom. Moving on to Gravedigger the Legend. Now this thing. Black chassis, roll cage and tires with silver wheels. Moving on to the Retro Gravedigger. Now this thing. Black chassis and tires with green roll cage and wheels. Moving on to Gravedigger number 7. Now this thing. Silver chassis and wheels with green roll cage with flotation tires. Moving on to the Green Ghost Gravedigger 2005. Also silver chassis and wheels with green roll cage with flotation tires. Moving on to 1982 original Gravedigger. Now this thing. Black chassis with yellow wheels with flotation tires. Moving on to 1984 Grain Truck Gravedigger. Now this thing. Black chassis and wheels with flotation tires. Moving on to 1986 Grandma Gravedigger. Now this thing. Black chassis with brown wheels, flotation tires. Moving on to the green Nitro Neon Gravedigger. Now this thing. Green chassis, roll cage and tires with white wheels. Moving on to the blue Nitro Neon Son of a Digger. Now this thing. Light blue chassis and tires with dark blue roll cage with white wheels. Moving on to the yellow Nitro Neon Earthshaker. Now this thing. Yellow chassis and tires with black roll cage with white wheels. Moving on to the pink Nitro Neon Calavera. Now this thing. Pink chassis, wheels, and tires with black roll cage. Moving on to the teal Nitro Neon Blue Thunder. Now this thing, teal chassis and wheels with brown roll cage and tires. Moving on to the lime green Nitro Neon Gravedigger. Now this thing, lime green chassis, wheels, and tires with black roll cage. Moving on to the 2024 Nitro Neon Max T. Green. Now this thing, got green chassis and wheels with chrome roll cage with yellow wheels. Moving on to the 2024 Nitro Neon Max T Orange. Now this thing got orange chassis and wheels with maroon roll cage and yellow wheels. Moving on to the orange Nitro Neon Max T. Now this thing, orange chassis, wheels, and tires with black roll cage. Moving on to the yellow Nitro Neon Max T. Now this thing, silver chassis with yellow roll cage and tires with black wheels. Moving on to the green Nitro Neon Max T. Now this thing, silver chassis with green roll cage and wheels, tires with black wheels. Moving on to the purple Nitro Neon Max T. Now this thing, purple chassis, wheels, and tires with white roll cage. Moving on to custom Elementals Trucks Gravedigger. Now this thing, purple chassis with black roll cage with orange and black, green and yellow wheels on the left and orange and red wheels on the right with blue tires. Moving on, last but not least, to custom phased out Son of a Digger. Now this thing, white chassis with black roll cage and 2 red wheels, 1 black wheel, 1 white wheel, 2 white tires, and 2 black tires. And that'll be it. Make sure you like, subscribe, or also turn on the notifications to my YouTube. Goodbye.